So this was a short video about our school. Now over to Lena Queen to start the program.
Good morning to everyone. I'm Lena Queen of grade 11, and I would like to begin by thanking each one of you for attending this session on a Saturday morning. I'm extremely delighted at the notion of welcoming such an esteemed chief guest and a passionate crowd. First and foremost, I bid a very warm welcome to our guest of the day, who has spared some time in between his busy schedule. Joining us today to talk to us pupilites about the potential career options in the field of healthcare is the very reputable Dr. Arvind Srinivasan. We are honored to have you with us today, sir. I would also like to offer my sincere welcome to our founder, Dr. N.M. Virayan, Dr. Savita and Dr. Rajesh, and all our wonderful faculty who aided in organizing this career talk. Last but not the least, I extend my greetings towards all of my friends present here who are eagerly waiting for Arvind sir to speak. With that, I now call upon Pranav Jaishankar of class 11 to give us a brief introduction about the speaker of today.
I am honored to have been given the privilege of introducing the chief guest for today's career talk. Dr. Arvind Srinivasan will help us broaden our scope of possible occupations in the healthcare industry. Dr. Arvind Srinivasan graduated in medicine from the PSG Institute of Medical Sciences, Coimbatore in 1992. He completed his residency in ophthalmology and did his master's in the same at Aravind Eye Institute, and in 1996 finished his postgraduate in the Institute for Ophthalmology in Madurai. Apart from medicine, Aravind sir also has a passion for management. In 2000, he did his MBA with a specialization in strategy from the University of Michigan, Ann Arbor, USA. He guides business school students from USA and the Netherlands through projects at Aravind Eye Care System in the aspect of identifying the needs to increase the quality of patient-centered care. Aravind Eye Care System has evolved into a large eye care service provider. It currently has 7 tertiary care centers, 7 secondary care centers, 6 community clinics, and 91 primary eye care centers across Tamil Nadu, Pondicherry, and Andhra Pradesh. During the year 2020, despite the COVID-19 pandemic, Aravind was able to extend its outpatient services to over 2 million people and able to provide sight-restoring surgical or laser procedures to 320,000 people, of which 50% of the patients receive the care either at free of cost or at steeply subsidized costs. I would now like to call on Dr. Arvind to address the audience.
Thank you, Leena and Pranav. And good morning to all the students. Good morning to all the teachers. It's a pleasure and a privilege to be with you all. I was happy to see the technology glitch because I see my son joining every day. I wonder how the teachers manage such amount of chaos in the morning till the kids settle down. I'm very happy that you're doing this to your children because they get an option to look at people who are practicing a certain profession. In my case, it's medicine. I'm sure there are other people who practice other professions who come and talk to them. We did not have that kind of an opportunity, so I think it's a wonderful opportunity that you're giving your children. The world has changed in the last 2 years. This generation of years, like people talk about, I've seen World War, I've seen Great Depression. You will talk about this 2 years or 3 years all through your life. The world is either it's going to be pre-COVID and post-COVID. And one thing that COVID has brought to the forefront is you can't take healthcare very lightly. Health can stop this world from functioning. Fear of contracting an infection, fear of dying can really beat the world as it is. So it is all the governments, they say the governments have realized they can't just focus on economic development. They have to focus on holistic development. Every sphere of life has to be taken care of. You can't only take care of giving jobs or making the country a little more wealthy without having the fundamental ecosystem in place. We will all find it difficult to survive and live in this world. So I hope with that as an introduction, let me share a presentation. So the way I've structured, I'll probably, I'll have to share with the passion. Huh? Yeah, okay, thank you. You've given me the rights to share. Okay, good. Good. I hope you're able to see the presentation.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Are you able to? Okay. So a little bit about me. I think Pranav has already introduced me, but I'll still go through that. So just to give you a context of who I am and what I have done, and a little bit about the organization that I'm part of, and then what is happening in healthcare in India and how does it pan out? What are the major themes of healthcare that will play out in the next 3 decades? When all of you come to the productive age group, say assuming that you are 25 to 30 and you have another 30 years of your life, these themes could be the ones which will play out. Your father's generation, which is people like me, the theme that played out was opening up of the economy, the whole IT revolution that happened in this country. Those were the themes that brought us to where we are today. But there are other themes that will play out in the decades to come. And healthcare as a profession, if any one of you choose to be a doctor, choose to be any one of the roles that you can play in healthcare, and also what's happening in the hospital industry. So this is the structure of my presentation. So this is about me. I think Pranav laid it for you. So 1987, I finished my schooling. So I joined medical school at PSG Institute and then did my master's in ophthalmology. The reason I'm sharing this is, this is the first two are regular career paths. You finish MBBS and you become a doctor in any one of the specialties. You can be a orthopedician, you can be a pediatrician, you can be a gynecologist. The choice is yours, depending on the fields. And you can also be in the non-clinical fields. You can be a head of professor of anatomy, professor of biochemistry, pathology, microbiology, etc. So in my case, after I finished my MS, I was a surgeon, a high volume surgeon, and I kept doing the surgeries, I kept doing my work, but I felt restless. It didn't complete me as a person. I didn't feel the profession was fully satisfying me. So I said I wanted to be on the administrative side of the organization. So this was in 1997. I thought about it, and 1998 I got admitted in MBA. The reason I'm sharing with this is you if you do your MBBS, it doesn't mean that you only have one path to follow. It's like you're engineer and then you become a do an MBA, you do something else, you become a chartered accountant, you can become an IAS officer, you can become an IPS officer. The whole world is open, even after you finish your MBBS. And that's something which was not open for people like us at that stage. So I did my MBA and subsequently I'm working in Arvind Eye Hospital and Arvind Eye Care System. So we are your neighbors, so you would have seen us, and I should thank your management for being very supportive when we came into Chennai about 4 years ago. We tapped into the network of Savita Medical College and the institutions. So they're very proactive in supporting us. Thank you. So what are the core activities of for me on a given day as a clinician? Like in the morning, right? Today before I came, I went and saw some patients. So yesterday was my surgery day. I operate on Monday and Friday. So I saw my post-operative patients, and then I saw a few more. And then I was getting ready for this presentation. So I'm sitting here and giving the presentation now. So my clinical role is about 40% of my time. So assuming that we work 6 days a week, about 8 to 9 hours a day. So that 40% goes towards clinical work, doing surgery for about 2 half days, and rest of the time goes to seeing patients or discussing clinical elements. The other 60% goes on managing the hospitals. Hospitals are like any other industry. We are about there are people issues like school, right? Schools are not made of only teachers and students, right? Hospitals are not made of only doctors and patients. There are a lot of other people. There are a lot of people in administration. There are a lot of people who take care of the facility management. There could be an electrician, there could be plumbers, there could be civil maintenance people, and there could be your cleaners who ensure that the school is kept clean or hospital is kept clean, and the whole gamut of security services that are offered. So you have to cater to everything. Every organization is the same. What we do differs. The building design differs on what we do. The equipments that we use differs, but the core functions remain pretty much the same, other than the clinical functions or the teaching function. So a little bit about Arvind Eye Care System. So there are 39 million people blind worldwide, and India has about 12 million people who are blind. The good news about blindness is 80% of the blindness is treatable. I'm sure in your school, right? If you kind of take all students, close to 9 to 10% of you would be wearing glasses. Without glasses, many of you won't be able to function to your fullest capacity. And if you kind of go to your grandfather, grandmother, many of them would have had a cataract surgery or any one of eye surgeries, or they would have had a laser treatment done. Your parents, any one of them could have been wearing glasses for reading, near vision, presbyopia, they would have touched 40 years. So eye care affects everybody. Eye care is not a disease entity. It is a lifestyle condition. It comes, you will have to get solution and then start using it. India needs about 20% of our population needs eye care at any given point of time. We are about a 1.3 billion country, as you know, and the sad situation is only 20% of this people are served now. So we have a long way to go. There is a lot of need for good eye care. Tamil Nadu is pretty good, not only Arvind, but there are several other good eye hospitals who are catering to the needs of the population. So Tamil Nadu's eye care can be compared to anywhere in Germany or UK or anywhere. That means for 72 million population, the penetration of eye care is as good as any developed country in the world. So the founder of this organization is Dr. G. Venkataswamy. Dr. G. Venkataswamy started at the age of 58. A lot of times you hear people retiring at the age of 58. Oh, I've done my work. I worked for 30 years. I need to retire now. But here was a man who said, oh, I can give a lot more to this world. I can be useful. I can give sight to people. And that's how he started his vision. He was a government employee. He retired from the government hospital. And then he set up this hospital in the year 1976. His mission was to eliminate needless blindness, whether they're able to pay or not. That's why even today, Arvind does close to 40% of all its services free to the patients. So Dr. V was a very thinker ahead of his times. So Dr. V was also very spiritually oriented. You know, his philosophy, and the name Arvind comes from Sri Aurobindo. I'm sure some of you would have heard about Sri Aurobindo of Pondicherry. So that philosophy is what guided Dr. Venkateswamy to set up these hospitals. He said, I have to become a good tool so that good things come out of me. In this case, a vision to millions of people. But the other end of the spectrum, he was also a very innovative thinker. He said, because I'm talking about India of 70s, right? Not India of today. India of 70s India had a per capita income of about $150. Today, India has a per capita of about $3,000. So we have come 20 times ahead in our economic growth. And Dr. V was very fascinated by McDonald's or a Burger King because he said, look at them. They have gone all around the world. They are focused on scale. They have brought assembly line efficiency. A school dropout tosses burgers, puts French fries. So he or she is able to do that well. They have standardized it across all over the world. You go anywhere in the world, you find the McDonald's the same way. They treat you the same way. The toilets are clean. They're consistent everywhere. And they have strict quality norms. And they're also have to give it affordable to that particular ecosystem. So he said, why can't we follow those principles in eye care? If we can do all that in eye care, we can reach out to more people. So today's Arvind, these are the different locations that we are working on. So Arvind caters to 100 million people. There are only about 12 countries bigger than 100 million people, 12 or 13 countries. 100 million is a large population. No country in Europe has more than 100 million except Russia. So Germany is about 80 million, UK is about 65 million, France is about 60 million. So all these are countries which are much smaller than any one of our states in this country. And Arvind caters to about 45% of all eye care needs in that population of 100 million people. All healthcare is set up, you would have heard, right? There is a large government hospital, there is a district headquarters hospital, and then there is a taluk headquarter hospital, then primary health center. So the healthcare is set up as a pyramid. The top end of the pyramid will see the most difficult, challenging, and complex cases, which is called as the tertiary center. You would see that we have 7 of them. And the second center caters to the next level of patients. And then subsequently, the bottom 2 caters to the primary needs of eye care in the community. So Arvind today examines about 13,000 patients in a given day, performs about 1,650 surgeries, 5 to 6 outreach programs, and we have a residence of about 100 postgraduates and 300 technicians and nurses getting trained every year. So this is a typical day at Arvind, 1,650 surgeries. And so this requires a lot of planning, a lot of work. I'll share with you. So these are the different locations that we are set up in, tertiary and secondary. So this was shared again. This was a pre-COVID data. We handle about 4.6 million. So what is 4.6 million? That means 7% of Tamil Nadu walks into any one of the Arvind hospitals every year. So that's the kind of scale. Tirupati temple, I'm sure you've all heard about Tirupati temple. Many people go. Tirupati temple sees about 50,000 people every day. And peak goes up to 65,000 or 70,000. So just to give you a comparison of how many people go there, how many people come to a hospital. So as I said earlier, we are about 6,000 employees. You can see the difference in people. You know, doctors are about, medical consultants and fellows are doctors. We are about 500. And then we have PG residents. They are doctors who are doing their MS, who are doing their DNB, etc. Post MBBS. We don't offer MBBS. So we are not a medical college. We are a single specialty. We only cater to eye. We don't cater to any other field. And we had 1,900 trained nurses, and trainees are about 1,292. As you can see, they form about more than 60% or even 70% of our 62% of our whole staff. And admin and support staff will be about 1,218. I'm sure if you plot pupil school, you will have something like this. The teachers will be about 30% of your staff maybe, and the rest of them would be all staff, maybe a little more, but there will be a ratio similar to this, but the percentages will vary. So Arvind's model of working is optimized process and workforce productivity. So I want to share with you, medicine is not all about patient and doctor. There is a lot of science behind medicine. So you'll have to think through how you're going to organize your workflow. The world organized itself due to COVID, right? Look at how I'm speaking to you, how your classes are happening. The world within a short span of say 3 to 4 weeks figured out. Then people like Zoom, Microsoft Teams, WebEx, Google, whatever, what do you call that? Google Meet. All of them came into existence, and all of them started providing a service. So if there is a necessity, the world is willing to innovate very quickly. All of us have adopted very quickly, even without going out of the house. We are able to lead a life for years, at least years together now. And this has helped optimize workflow processes and workflow has helped us to be more productive. So the average surgeon in this country does about 200 to 300 surgeries, and Arvind does about 1,500 surgeries. This requires a lot of coordination. It's a supply chain issue, logistics. Tirupati's biggest problem is not seeing God. That's easy. It takes a second or 10 seconds for a person. They can really streamline them. But the biggest problem is how do they accommodate 50, 60,000 people on a given day? How do they provide toilet facilities for all of them on a given day? How do they feed them on a given day? What happens if there is a medical emergency for people? Older people would still come. Some people would come in a wheelchair. Some people would need other assistance. So that whole logistics is very important when you want to build anything of scale. Otherwise, you would see, medicine can be practiced as a mom and pop way also. You have a small clinic, a doctor sits, somebody is assisting. It is just the doctor and the patient. So that is one scale, one level of working. The next level is a mid-level nursing home where you would have about 5 doctors and about 35, 40 staff. That's a mid-level. But when you really want to do scale, then you have to organize yourself to be able to reach out to more people. So if you standardize, if you're able to bring in quality, then your outcomes are far better. So it's India's outcome, not only Arvind. The whole of the country does very well. More so the southern part of the country. We have several good institutions. You have Shankar Nethralaya here. You have LV Prasad in Hyderabad. You have a lot of other good institutions in southern India, which does amazing amount of work. So our people and our professionals are happy and lucky to be in this part of the country and this part of the world, so that they're able to give their best. Because for doctors or for anybody, to give the best, you need an ecosystem to give the best. You can't do everything on your own. So you need nurses to support, you need the right technology, right equipments. So that ecosystem is available in the southern part of the country. So this is about Dr. B. I spoke to you about Dr. B. Dr. B had a very strong value system. He said, I need to be serving the community. And that's how I told you the cross-subsidizing model came. The delivery system came from McDonald's. So next time when you go to McDonald's or Burger King, don't look at their burgers alone. Look at how they function. Look at how people are dressed up, how people talk to the customers, walk into their toilets and see they are clean or not. See how quickly they serve their people, how they take their orders. The moment they type the order goes back into a screen and it tells the people. So start learning to observe ecosystems, right? So when you go into any organization, any organization, doesn't matter whether it's hospital or even a school, right? What meets your eyes is the physical infrastructure. Wow, Pupil has a beautiful building. Pupil has a wonderful swimming pool. It has you see all that nice greenery. But the next level you would go is the intellectual infrastructure. Wow, they have good classrooms. They have teachers, smart classrooms. So that's the next level, right? There is a third level, which is very difficult to come, which is a deeper level. That's the emotional infrastructure. There is passion here. There is commitment here. They want the students to do well. That's the emotional infrastructure. The first two you can buy with money. Money can bring you physical buildings. Money can bring you the intellectual infrastructure. Third requires a lot of passion, commitment. It's a lifetime work. It's a joy that you get by doing something which adds value to others. So with that, I'll stop about Arvind, and then I'll move on to healthcare overview, because this is all about what are the career options that you all have. So as you know, India is the second most populous country. We are going to be I believe in the next 3 years or 2 years, we will be the highest populated country in the world. So in this one area, we probably may beat China. And with the population, there is a lot of challenges. As you would have seen with COVID, it was easy for other countries to isolate people, bring in social distancing, change the culture, wearing mask. It looks very simple, why people don't wear masks. It's a cultural thing. It's not easy to change a culture. So that's why people are struggling. They're not used to it. Younger people probably are used to it. Today, a child who was born about a year ago or two, for that child, the world is full of masks. So that child will feel lost if the mask is not there, will feel threatened if the mask is not there. It's like people walking without their shirts or anything like that. So the kids are used to seeing with a mask. And also you can see, I'm sure many of your parents or your grandparents will say, oh, I have diabetes, I have a cardiac problem, I have had a hypertension. So those are all called lifestyle diseases. As after a certain age, so if you maintain a good lifestyle, these diseases don't come. If you don't maintain a good lifestyle, so you can go to McDonald's, but don't eat a burger. You just see that and walk away and eat something healthy. So then you won't get any of those lifestyle diseases. Or you just work out, you eat, but work out, go and play outside, not all in the computer games, etc. And there is also a demand for affordable healthcare. See, you watch all our governments today, from the Tamil Nadu government to the Indian government, everybody is talking about health because people realize health is the most important subject. It threatens the basic need for a human being to live in a proper way. So from the prime minister to the chief minister of the state, everybody is talking about. You open the newspaper, the first page in the last 2 years has always been COVID, health related issues, one thing or the other. And we are all looking at those statistics, right? Today, Tamil Nadu had this many number, Kerala had this many number, is the third wave going to come here, and things like that, on and on. And as I said, India's healthcare has transformed. I know you would have heard at the peak in the month of May, right? No beds was available. People were burnt, they were all in a waiting, in a queue, in a mortuary, queue in a crematorium. So it was a challenging time. That's why people are so much worried about the third wave, that if it happens, do we have the wherewithal to take care? Vaccine is one solution, but India is a large country. When people complain about, oh, India is not vaccinated quickly, the complexity of managing India is not easy. We all realize we all manage organizations with 6,000 employees. I'm sure Dr. Savita is there. She's managing a large organization. Even for us, we struggle trying to meet the ends together and then trying to keep the organization going. To take 1.3 billion with different languages, different culture, different political alignment is not easy. So, we should be sympathetic at the same time, nudge our politicians to deliver to ensure that the people are safe. So healthcare has a strong demand. As I said, Indian healthcare is estimated to be about $372 billion, which is a lot of money. That's why today you see everybody is interested in healthcare, starting from Amazon to Google to Microsoft. Everybody is interested in healthcare because healthcare is the unconquered opportunity that is available. Digitization
Arun.
and attractive opportunities. Government of India right now spends about 1% of its
ஒரு
GDP.
நிமிஷம் சொல்லுங்க.
Yeah, so India's GDP is about, as I said, $2 trillion. So 3% is a significant money that goes into healthcare. And rising manpower needs. The government has done something very interesting. They have doubled all the postgraduate seats. They've increased medical colleges. So more number of people can become doctors. More number of people can become nurses. More number of people become any one of those healthcare technicians. So major themes in healthcare in the decades to come are digitization of healthcare. Like today, if you walk, everything like you go to a lab and give blood, or somebody will come and then the result will come through mail. So that's happening, right? In all over the field. You take an MRI, you don't have to stay there. They will send you the report and everything through digital media. And then you can share it with another doctor if you want to get an opinion or what. So remote care is becoming possible. You would have said, right? Somebody in your family could have got COVID. Oh, they are quarantining in the house. Somebody is in the room. So they're checking their oxygen level. They're eating their medicines. They're reporting to the doctor. So remote care has already become a reality. Imagine if all those people had to be admitted in the hospitals. We don't have enough beds. This country will go into utter chaos if everybody wanted to be admitted. And the other important theme is aging of population. You're all very young. I think this country has another big challenge I'll share with you. So digitization, a lot of you are completely using digitization, right? So your classes are happening through the digital framework. You're submitting your homeworks to the digital framework. Your parents may work through the digital framework. You order food through the digital framework. You order something from Amazon or Flipkart through digital framework. So that's going to happen in health as well. So these three themes that we said will play out in the decades to come. So there is a National Digital Health Mission, which is working on converting all medical records into electronic medical records. So what would happen? You can travel anywhere in the country and you are immediately able to access to your medical record. Imagine if somebody meets with an accident in Uttar Pradesh. And in Uttar Pradesh, the doctor does not know what you have. The doctor does not know whether you have diabetes, whether you have hypertension, you're taking any drug. So with this mode, they are able to open your medical record wherever they are. All you have to do is carry a small card in your pocket or in your phone. It immediately gives access to all the data. Aging of population, it's estimated that India will have about close to 20% of its population above 60 years. It's a very dramatic number. India will be about 1.6 billion. You're talking about 320 million people. There is no other country except for India and China larger than 320 million people. We will have 320 million people above 60 in this country. So the need for healthcare, the need for accessibility, the need for many things in India will change because that's the population that will need to be taken care of. And chronic conditions like diabetes, hypertension will be significantly high. So remote healthcare, I already spoke about tele-ICU. I was very surprised. The intensive care unit in many of the American hospitals are managed from Bombay and Chennai. So they hire intensive care intensivists here. They try to manage, they look at the parameters, they manage, and they have nurses. So it's already happening in India. Many of the tier 2 cities partner with the hospitals, larger hospitals, and run tele-ICUs there. Tele-ophthalmology, tele-emergency, etc. So coming to what matters to you, healthcare as a profession, one thing is any profession you choose, it has to matter to you. It has to speak to your heart. You will have to commit yourself. No profession looks, becomes rosy in the day one. You have to work through the profession. You have to dig deeper to understand what is your space that you really want to excel in. Do you want to be in medical research? Do you want to be a service delivery person as a surgeon? Or you want to be a physician? Or you want to be a laboratory person? So as you can see, there is a gamut of opportunities that is available, both from the administrative perspective, from a nursing perspective, from technician perspective, from a doctor's perspective. Pharmacies are huge business. Pharmaceutical companies are multi-billion-dollar companies, right? These are not small companies. If you take a Sun Pharma, if you take a Cipla, Cadila, these are much, much larger than any one of the education institutions. So there are phenomenal opportunities that are available there. Diagnostic services, right? You would have seen the scan centers, different scan centers in different places. They advertise and they reach out. So they make it convenient for you. Earlier, you had to go to a hospital. Only hospitals would have investigations. Today, they have decoupled it. Hospitals is where care is given. Investigation can be done closer to your home. So telemedicine, medical tourism. So many people come to India, like many of the countries around India. Take Maldives. Maldives will have a 1 lakh population or 2 lakh population. So India is the best place for them to come to get any good eye care. And medical equipment device manufacturing. Again, multi-billion-dollar companies are available. So all these are opportunities in healthcare. Don't think it is only practicing as a clinician, practicing, is this or not? So your world is open. MBBS is again like your 12th. It's a stepping stone. You can become a biomedical engineer. You can do any field that you choose to do. There is also a law, medical ethics, medical law. So all that is a whole field, gamut of opportunities that are available. And not only allopathy, but there is alternative medicine, Ayurveda. Today, India's Ayurveda is very popular in developed countries, America or Europe. So many things are happening. Himalaya makes alternative medicines. Himalaya is close to a 3,000 crore company. So things are They have become really big when doing things. Other things like speech therapy, physical therapy, occupational therapy, veterinary medicine, it's a large field. Veterinary medicine, the number of dogs, the number of animals we have, and pets many people have. So that's a huge need. Hospital administration is a huge need. And again, hospital category, just to give you an orientation, Arvind belongs to the charitable hospital. There are government hospitals, there are private, there is private for-profit. So the government hospitals you would have seen, right? Rajiv Gandhi Hospital or Omandirar Hospital or Kilpak Medical College, Stanley Medical College, all these are hospitals run by government. And then you have private, voluntary. So Savita Medical College will come here. Arvind Hospital will come in that basket. Savita Dental College will come in that basket. And private would be, say, in eye care, it will be Agarwal's Eye Hospital or Apollo hospitals, all Miot Hospital. All of them would come under the corporate hospital basket. So even when you become a doctor, you can choose where you want to work. You can be a private practitioner, a family practitioner. You can be a specialist, do things on your own, freelance, go from one hospital to the other, practice, or join a large organization like what I mentioned. So I'm going to conclude with this slide. So this is very important for you, this quote. You're all very smart kids. You have tremendous intelligence. You're being groomed well, tremendous capabilities. But remember, there must be a joy of doing something beautiful. I really wish and pray that each one of you enjoys the joy of being useful to another person and get the best out of all your life. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. We can have questions now.
Sure.
So Abhishek wants to know what are the precautions for keeping our vision without using glasses?
There are no major precautions because glasses, eye is a very interesting structure. Bullseye happens to 90% of the population. That means you get 6/6 vision, you get 100% vision, about 90. About 10% of the people, it just skips. It's like somebody's height, right? Imagine if the whole world, 90% of them has to be only about 5 feet 5 inches. That doesn't happen, right? So in eye care, we are fortunate because 90% at least hit 5 feet 5 inches. So everybody is able to see 90%. The other 10% need glasses. So it's not a failure of the system or anything. It is just that measurement, whatever, that organ has matured at a certain level. It's either short, it's called hypermetropia, little long, myopia, and short sight, long sight is what they would call. And so the other way you can do is to just take care of your eyes, like especially the present day. You're all the time watching the monitor, give rest to your eyes, drink adequate amount of water, play outside. You need to get sunlight. Sunlight has a lot of good things for the body. But those are all the things that you can do. And also get your eyes tested. That's important. At least once your parents should at least test if there is a small baby at least once before the first year or second year. And if there is a problem, they should do it obviously more. But then after 40, maybe once in 2 years, if you have diabetes, if you have other risk factors, then you probably have to get tested once in a year.
Yes, sir. Students, you can leave your questions here. Samiksha wants to know about
Maybe Samiksha can ask
Samiksha, can you
ask
explain
it
your question?
herself. Yeah, so that Samiksha, you can ask. Maybe she wants to ask one-eyed blurry vision or sight. Sorry, we're not able to understand the question, Samiksha. If you can just ask it yourself. So anybody else who has any questions regarding healthcare or anything else, you can definitely ask.
Sir,
Yes, please.
sir, this smile and LASIK, sir, we use that to like prevent wearing glasses, but why is that only applicable for people who are above the age of 18?
Because your body has not matured fully. The eye still grows till a certain extent, about 20 years. In fact, we insist it's about 20 because the eye the eye's ability to grow is there. So if you correct the power, imagine when you're 17, your eye will continue to grow. So the power is not fully, you're not fully mature. It's like asking, somebody at 14, you say, I want to grow taller. How do you know that how tall you will grow? Maybe your spurt is going to come at 15 or 16 years. So you don't do a surgery or anything to make you anything permanent before the body matures. So that's the reason why people wait till 20.
Thank you, sir. And also, like in old age people, how exactly do they get the cataract? Like, what are the factors that involve it?
So cataract is clouding of lens. I'm sure you're all familiar with the eye anatomy, right? So eye has a cornea on the top and the lens between, and then the retina in the bottom. So it's like a ball kind of a thing. So the cornea on the top and the lens in the between. So lens focuses the light to the retina. So that's how we are able to focus near and distance. You don't need anything like a binocular or a microscope or you will have to focus, right? A telescope, you will focus for distance and near, but your eye does it automatically because the lens goes bigger and smaller. It adjusts its concavity and convexity. So that lens gets its nutrition from the fluid around. It's a avascular structure. There is no blood supply, direct blood supply to that. So as they get older, especially when people have diabetes, when people have certain health related issues, cataract comes early because the lens does not get adequate nutrition. So it's like graying of hair. Why does hair gray as you get older? Very similar thing. The protein there starts coagulating, and that's how cataract is formed. There are other reasons for cataract. Trauma is another reason. Radiation is another reason. So those are all other reasons. But common cause is aging and other comorbidities.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
So Dvisha Sheju wants to know what are the fields of ophthalmology?
What are the
Fields in ophthalmology, sir.
What are the fields in ophthalmology? What does she want? She wants to know what are the career opportunities in ophthalmology?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So you can become an ophthalmologist. So you do your MBBS and then you do 3 years of your MS or a diploma on national board. That's how you become an ophthalmologist. And then typically people choose one specialty or the other. As I said, you will see from the outside, you will see an eye doctor. But when you go deeper into the field, you will have somebody becoming a specialist for cornea, somebody specialist in glaucoma, eye pressure, somebody a specialist in retina. So you can choose to become any one of them. Or you can also become a research scientist, eye research scientist, asking the question that was earlier asked by Pranay. Oh, why does cataract happen? Why do people get this? Why do people not get this? Why does this population alone get this disease more than the others? Like Kerala. Kerala has a much higher preponderance for diabetes than any other state. But interestingly, Kerala's healthcare parameters are the best when compared to any other state. So it's a very interesting. There is one end they are healthy, at the other end they are very susceptible to diabetes and diabetes related complications. So all this comes only by epidemiological research, and then you go into basic research.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Ria wants to know if there is an increase in the number of patients who visit your hospital in the present situation, since we have resorted to the digital world in absence of actual in-person schooling. What are your views on this?
There is definitely an increase. Parents are concerned. The kids, some of them would have, they were not able to check the power earlier, or 1 or 2 years they have not come to a hospital. There is an increase, but the increase is not dramatic in the younger age group. So I think somewhere things are not, we are not losing the battle on that front. But older people are coming more because they were afraid to come because they were vulnerable earlier, right? Today, when the restrictions are gone, they come here for their care because they need their diabetic changes to be checked, intraocular pressure to be checked. So that population is definitely coming in more numbers. So we are struggling actually. All hospitals are struggling because it's like a tsunami hitting you. People haven't come to the hospital, they're waiting. There is a huge pent up demand. So that's what happens.
Yes, sir. Madhavi wants to know that if we can wear non-power glasses to protect ourselves from the radiation of computer and other electronics if we don't have power.
Absolutely. It is possible. There are blue light protective glasses. You can definitely wear them. Um it is not yet proven that there is a big role for those glasses, but if you feel comfortable, why not?
Yes, sir. I think those are all the questions. Are there any more? I'm guessing no. You made them very clear on the topic, I guess. So now,
Nobody wants to know more about. 1 second, Lena. Sorry to interrupt.
no, ma'am, it's fine.
I think a little bit of motivation required. Children, is there something you would like to know about the careers associated?
I'll make an offer for your students. If somebody is interested in eye care or health care, if you want to visit a hospital, we are open. So you come and talk to the doctors, you come and talk to the people if you choose to. You will at least know that. A day with the doctor or a day with somebody. Spend that. Go into the operating theater, see what they are doing, see the outpatients. But only people who are interested.
Thank you, sir. That was really a very generous offer. I think many children would be interested to come and visit, and those who are really interested in taking that up.
We do that. We take them
So
to the medical
Samiksha
college.
has typed this question. She has asked one eye blurry vision, right? So Samiksha, one eye blurry vision, you have to check with the doctor because, as I said, one eye could have a little more power than the other eye. So we have to add glasses. You would have seen some people have one leg a little longer than the other. They would wear heels to the shoes to make it even. So you just wear glasses in one eye. That's one thing. Second could be lazy eye. The eye does not have the power and the eye is not seen. So it's called amblyopia. Or we'll have to do investigations and find out why that has happened. So it's important for you to get an eye checkup done. Whoever is your closest ophthalmologist, please reach out and get it done.
So if we do eye checkup according to it, so will we have to go under surgery, like if any critical issues?
Yeah, at some point of time, if you have cataract, if you have many things, there is a possibility that you have to go through surgery. 80% of people above 65 will get a cataract, 80 to 85%. So there's a high probability that you will go through surgery in eye surgery in life. Yeah.
Sir, another question: will cataract affect people in their life, like in their lifestyle and all?
Absolutely. Absolutely. The vision comes down, right? So how do you manage? See, today's world is driven by vision. Without vision, what can we all do? Everything is visual, right? The way I'm talking to you, you're listening. So everything is visual. Sense organs are very important. Not only vision, ears, your skin. A lot of these organs, we take them very lightly. But without your smell, all these sense organs are very important. Your lifestyle definitely gets affected when any one of the sense organ is affected. And more so eye, because eyes are kind of, it gives you a lot more inputs than a hearing, than a smelling and touch, etc.
Yes, sir. Actually, I asked the first question as like, what are the fields in ophthalmology? I used to visit Arvind Hospital yearly checkup because I had conjunctivitis.
Okay.
So I used to visit our doctor. So I was like, what is it? Why do they have this separate thing like retina, cornea, and all?
Sure. So that's the different parts of the body. That different parts of the eye. Like you have bone doctor, orthopedician, you have a gynecologist who's doing women-related things. You have andrologist doing men-related things. So that's how medicine is spread, right? I mean, like your teachers are there, right? There is somebody for science, there is somebody for physics, there is somebody for maths. There is no one teacher, right? Same thing with doctors. Within eye, we are not only in one subject. We specialize in one subject.
Oh, okay.
Yes, sir. I have a question, sir. Considering in education, so if we study to become a general physician, how is that different from specializing in a particular field like ophthalmology, sir?
It's a choice you make, right? Because somebody would say, I want to treat the person holistically. I want to know the family. I want to know the person. So we only take care of the parts, right? We don't take care of the whole. General physicians definitely do take care of the whole. Everybody has a role to play, Lina. There is no one role that you play. It's like your, in your younger classes, you had a teacher who would teach everything, right? You didn't have subjects there, right? Somebody would teach numbers, somebody would teach alphabets, they kind of multitasked at that level. So that's how it is. Everybody is needed in this ecosystem. There is nothing big or nothing small. Everybody complements each other. In my case, an eye doctor, if that patient has diabetes, what do? I send them to the physician. Say, please control your diabetes, please take care of it. Without that, I can't operate. So we coexist. Every field coexists. We can't exist in isolation. So we'll have to find that coexistence and start making our own specialization in the field that we choose.
Yes, sir. Uh,
We have a question from Kirtanya.
Yeah. She asks if people who have not studied medicine can still effectively administer hospitals.
Absolutely. Why not? It's definitely possible because the management issues are very similar in any organization, which I alluded to in my presentation, right? The common challenges would be interpersonal issues, like your school. There are the same challenges that exist in any organization would exist in schools. There might be issues with timing, issues in punctuality, issues in maintenance, issues with civil issues, electrical issues. So you kind of take care of everything. Like before you all come to the school, I'm sure the school has to completely go and do a complete thorough checkup on every system because nobody has used it. Is the water coming on time? Is the electricity there? Is the fans are fine? All that. That is so. Everything is important.
Yes, sir. She also wants to know if Arvind follows a system like McDonald's, how do you ensure that each patient gets personalized care?
So Arvind is more like a supermarket. So people in Arvind, we divide roles, right? So it is a good question. So personalized care will be a little difficult in Arvind. Because we open our doors, we are high volume, throughput is there. So we are like a supermarket. You don't get, but if you want to really get a personalized care, you have to go to a neighborhood ophthalmologist. They are able to talk to you. They know your family. They would have known. So that's the difference. So what Arvind can do is specialized services. Because of the volume, our people are more skilled at handling conditions. Number one. Number two, because of the scale of work, some of the specialties that an individual practitioner can't do. Like an individual practitioner will be very difficult to do a retina as a practice because he might see 30 or 40 patients a day. You can't build a practice around it. And your investments won't be able to be justified. That's why it's like a school, right? I mean, if you don't have 1,000 students or 2,000 students, you can't do a lot of things. If you have only 20 students in the whole school, will you be able to do what Pupil is doing? Impossible, right? So that's what the scale. You have to think very differently when you have scale, but the choice is yours. Then you say, oh, I want a personalized tuition. Then you go to a tuition class. You can have a one-to-one tuition. The tuition teacher can come home or one-to-one, or you can be in a 5-member tuition group or a 10-member. Your school might be 30 people. So that's how healthcare also works.
Sir?
Yes, please.
Sir, is it necessary that we have to do MBBS immediately after school, or can we go into the field of research, then MBA, then after that, if we feel like it, can we still take MBBS?
That's all possible in US. Many people do that. It's technically possible in India. I think till 35 you can apply to medical school, something like that. I don't know the exact age, but something like that. It's technically possible. But you have to remember, medicine is a long-term horizon. So if you take it at 35, only at 50 you will pass out. Because you have to do your MBBS, which is 5.5 years. Then you'll have to do your 3 years of residency, which is MS, MD. And then you have fellowship, which is another 2.5 years. So only then you would have become a full doctor in that field. Then you have to practice, train. Unless you want to work till about 80, I would rather choose MBBS a little earlier.
Sir, so the experience that we have maybe from MBA or research, they won't count when we go into the field of MBBS?
It may count, but it's a very different domain, right? So you need to understand this domain. The domain knowledge is very different. The language is very different. I'm sure many of you watch those series, medical series in any one of those Netflix or whatever. So you pick up a lot of lingo, dorsal, ventral, this diagnosis, that diagnosis. So today's generation is very much aware of all these terms. The vocabulary is very different in each field. Teaching will have a different vocabulary. Engineers will have a different vocabulary. For the same thing, each one of us may have a different vocabulary. The engineer will say the front aspect, the facial aspect. We may say the anterior aspect. What we mean is the same. It's the front. I say anterior. They say the fascia. So things like that. So it will be good for you to do. There is nothing wrong. Imagine you choose to do something else today, a law or something, and then after about 30, 35, you realize that, oh, I have to become a doctor. Why not? You can definitely come back. But that as a career path to build all these skills, you are better off getting the foundation in medicine and then adding those skills.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
So what are the trade-offs and compromises occur when you serve a larger volume of patients?
So you have to have, which aircraft will you fly? Indigo or another company which has only one plane? Right? So the large ecosystems have to have a lot of safety systems, a lot of checks and balances in place. So that's how quality and safety is maintained. It doesn't mean that, imagine you're in the market to buy a car, right? Will you buy car from a Maruti or a large manufacturer? Or if I come and sell you a car, I say, oh, this is the only car I have made. Before that, I have not made any car. You come and buy me. And you say, who will take care of it? Who will maintain it? I have to always come to you. I can't take it anywhere because there is no one else to maintain. Right? So scale offers you another paradigm of opportunity, which a smaller scale does not offer. The question is, you're asking, if it's busy, how it is. Go to Chennai airport, go to Chennai railway station, bus station. Every 5 minutes, there will be an aircraft taking up and landing. So are they unsafe? How many times you've heard that a flight has crashed in Chennai airport? Right? So you have to take that notion out that scale means problem. No, scale is the opportunity. That's why people in California are able to think that they can, they can develop a Google and help all over the world. They can build a business for 7-8 billion people. We are only now starting to think differently. A Zomato, a Swiggy, a Ola are thinking very differently. Oh, we can serve 1 billion people. Oh, we can serve 5 billion people. So that kind of thought process was already existing in America. That's why McDonald's came here. Only now we are, Tatas have bought the Jaguar, Land Rover, other companies are buying multinational, in other countries. So that this India, the generation that you are, you will have to not look for serving people of 30 million people or your own neighborhood. You have to serve the world. That's where the big opportunities are.
Ketanya wants to know about your experience doing MBA in the US. How did it benefit you to study abroad instead of just studying in India?
Oh, to be honest, I wouldn't have gotten admission in any one of the good schools in India. Very difficult to get in an IIM. Very difficult. Because such competitive, I wouldn't have gotten, obviously. So I was able to get admitted in US, University of Michigan, and that's how it happened. So it was a good experience. I learned a lot because I came from another stream. So they bring people, very interesting in US MBAs, which does not exist in India to a large extent, is people from different walks of life come into the MBA. So you will have a veteran army person who has served in the army for 5 years. You have a doctor like me. You have an engineer. You have a science. You have a humanities major who has been an artist, who has been a musician. So all of them come. There is business everywhere, right? There is business in music, there is business in education, there is business. When I say business, please don't look at the negative connotation. Not making money. Making money is not bad. It's good if you do it in the right way. There's an ethical way of doing everything well, right? If I carry a knife and cut open a person, it's the ethical way of doing my work. But if another person who's not studied MBBS carries a knife and cuts open a person, it's called murder. Right? So every field has its own, you're equipped to do a certain thing. So
Any more questions?
You're putting pressure on them, Lena.
No, sir. They're very curious, sir. I think that's everything. Can I now call upon Reina? Reina, can you do the vote of thanks now?
Before
Yes.
One second.
yeah.
Reina, hold on.
So,
Lena?
so thank you, Dr. Arvind, for spending so much of time on a Saturday morning to inspire our children. Children, you should all know that Arvind Eye Care System was studied by Harvard Business School. The model, though they serve the poorest of the strata, and as Dr. Arvind mentioned, 40% of their surgeries are free. They are a very self-sustainable model. It's a model which has been studied by many people and also has been featured in the C.K. Prahalad's book, Pyramid and Fortune at the Bottom of the Pyramid. So we are very fortunate to have Dr. Arvind with us, who has kindly consented in spite of his busy schedule to be with us, to speak to us. Personal invitation to you, Dr. Arvind, to visit our school sometime and
Sure.
meet our children in person and inspire them more. And children, you should, these are opportunities to meet great personalities, great role models, so that we carry a lot of, like, though you may not be doing medicine, this gives you an oversight of what healthcare looks like, what a big organization, how can it be run, and so many other things. So thank you, Dr. Arvind, for sharing all the wisdom with our children, and
Thank you.
grateful to you. Thank you. Thank you very
Thank you.
much.
Thank you, Savita. I appreciate the opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning, sir. Good morning, everyone. Gratitude is the currency that we can win for ourselves and spend without the fear of bankruptcy. I feel tremendously privileged at being having granted this opportunity to express my heartfelt gratitude towards everyone involved in making today's event a monumental success. On the behalf of Pupil, I'd firstly like to thank Dr. Arvind Srinivasan for gracing us with his presence and bringing to us knowledge on the vast field of healthcare in such a vivid manner. I'm very certain that our pupilites were thoroughly enchanted by all they have learned from you, sir. I wish to extend my thanks to our founder, Dr. N.M. Veerayan, our directors, Dr. Savita and Dr. Rajesh, and all the faculty who are in charge of organizing the Pupil Career Talk series. This series of talks aims to enlighten students on professional options that they could pursue and give insight into the same. Finally, I'd like to conclude my vote of thanks by conveying my gratitude towards all the pupilites and teachers present here for making this session a truly lively one. Thank you.
Thank you, Reina. Thank you. Thank you all.